David Tucker, co-founder of Right Now Communications, Iluka Media, and Travelers Book Direct. We help inns, hotels, resorts, bed and breakfasts, and vacation rentals generate more direct bookings. Today, we're going to be talking with one of the world's leading experts in Metasearch, specifically Google Hotels. We're going to find out how you can leverage Metasearch to generate more direct bookings to your property. Coming up next. Hi, David Tucker with Right Now Communications, Iluka Media, and Travelers Book Direct. Today we are talking about Metasearch. Now, our company helps hotels, inns, resorts, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, all kinds of lodging generate more bookings direct to their reservation system, bypassing the OTAs and creating more revenue. And we are super excited to have one of what I consider the world's leading experts in the Metasearch space with us today. I'm going to attempt his name here. It's Bas van Tienhoven. Bas, did I get that correct?
You did a very bloody good job, if I may say so.
All right. Thank you. And
Pleasure
Bas,
to meet you. Pleasure to be here.
You're in Amsterdam today, so
Correct.
Welcome to the conversation. And what we want to do with this conversation is we want to share with our listeners, with our viewers, how they can leverage the changes that are going on within Metasearch and specifically with Google Hotel ads so that they can generate more revenue direct and pay the OTAs less. So please give us your background, Bas, a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Bas van Tienhoven. I'm working for 7 years now, in my 7th year with WIHP Hotels. And we're one of the leader providers of a Metasearch solution for hotels, bed and breakfast, lodges, vacation rentals, you name it. Before I joined WIP, I worked for 2 hotels here in Amsterdam as sales and marketing manager. I've done group sales for NH Hotels, and I've been in Booking.com for 3 years as an account manager. So really hitting the road and meeting with the hotel partners. And that's where I learned the game in distribution that I'm using now on a day-to-day basis with hotels.
Awesome. So you've been on the other side. You've been on we sometimes call it the dark side, right? The OTAs.
I've been on the other side. Wouldn't call it the dark side, but yes, I've done it, been there, played the game, know how it goes.
Okay, nice.
So
I have a couple of questions that I continue to have my clients ask me. And so I'm just going to sort of rattle these off here in no particular order and see if we can sort of generate a little understanding here. And so the first question I get all the time is, what's the difference between Metasearch and an OTA?
It's a good question, actually. And the difference is blurring a little bit lately. But traditionally, Metasearch is a platform where you don't have a direct contract with. And OTA you do. For instance, Booking.com, Expedia, etc. You have a direct connection via your channel manager or via the extranet, and you provide availability. Metasearches are more a comparison platform where OTAs take place, for instance, do their offerings, and you have different listings for the user to choose from. Up to a few years ago, when I joined WIP 7 years ago, it was not possible for hotels or individual hotels to be listed there, and nowadays it's more and more common and in my opinion, not more common enough.
And when we talk about this, the technology is available, of course, to chain hotels, but the platform that you work with is pretty specific to helping independents also. Is that correct?
Platform is having around 4,000 hotels on it right now. For the full platform, there are much more if we only look at Google. But it goes from independent hotels to chain of 2-3 hotels to a chain of 20-25 hotels. But the platform is designed for independent hotels as well. Absolutely.
Awesome. I know we're using it in our agency for independent hotels and people with small chains, 2 or 3 properties. And so far it's working out amazing. So the other question that even I sometimes have some confusion with, and there's a lot of churn and change going on, Bas, is what's going on with the hotel digital marketing landscape with regards to the Google Hotel Ads ecosystem. Can you sort of bring some light to what these changes are and what hotels need to do to leverage this change?
Well, yeah, of course. Well, in the SEO world, the traditional SEO, as we've seen it 5, 6 years ago, the main goal was to be on top of page 1 to drive more clicks. And the higher rank, the more clicks you get, the more successful the business is. But Google has been evolving as well. And this is no longer be the most valuable source of clicks. The user journey traditionally goes in the famous funnel. And the further you're in the funnel, the more interesting it is to approach the user. Metasearch is very interesting for a hotel because the user searching for the hotel in Metasearch is by default brand protection, so in the last stage of the search. And making sure that you're listed primarily when users are searching for your name is the absolute key in being found. And Metasearch is a great tool. Google did not really have a ready-made Metasearch engine to buy. So what they did is they developed their own. Start with Hotel Finder, which was more or less penciled by partners like the OTAs that didn't really like it. So Google brought Google Hotel Ads back, which is actually Hotel Finder 2.0. The reason it is so powerful is that Google Hotel Ads is directly visible in search engine results page. That means top of the page, you're listed in the Google My Business where directly you're able to see to list your prices. This is a very, very powerful tool that Google has that no other Metasearch has that are depending on organic or paid listings. And for individual hotels, this is the biggest chance to tap directly into a source of highly qualified traffic, and it's a good addition to other search engine advertising for the famous Google ads, the ads on top of the page.
To simplify this a little bit, my understanding is that it allows an independent hotel to plug into Metasearch and basically be their own OTA and compete right alongside the SERPs, the search engine results that the OTAs are currently bidding on. Is that
correct?
Accurate?
Correct. Okay. Correct. But for the Metasearch part, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the Google advertising, only the Metasearch, Google Hotel Ads.
Right, right. And you mentioned SEO, so you know that we've been in the SEO business since the dawn of time, since InfoSeek. And that's absolutely true. You know, SEO is not dead in terms of generating clicks for hotels. It plays a huge part in the search ecosystem, sometimes in the discovery phase, right, for organic search, and sometimes in the actual booking phase through local search, those sorts of things. But more and more, Google and all the other players out there are looking at trying to make sure that things that generate revenue for them and also help the users find their desired property quicker are becoming more and more important. So
absolutely,
that's why we're involved in this directly, because these search results always compete with organic search results, as they should. And so with all of this change going on, why should hotels, inns, and resorts care about what's going on with Google right now? Bess, what's the answer to that?
Well, you should. If you think of OTA, where does an OTA get most of their traffic from? That's not only the organic listing, that's not only bidding for your brand name and more generic searches, not only via their affiliate program or affiliate partners, but also via Metasearch. They're heavily active on Metasearch. Statistics from a while back show that roughly 25 to 35% of traffic from an OTA is coming from Metasearch. That only should indicate already to you that only OTAs are king in data-driven decisions. If they invest heavily in Metasearch and it counts for roughly a third of their traffic, why, as you, as individual hotel, shouldn't see this as a sign and also step in?
Got it. Makes sense. If the OTAs are getting 30, 35% of their traffic via this Metasearch, then it makes sense that a hotel can do that for themselves directly.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
What advantage does Metasearch have over pushing a hotel's inventory out on the web, out on Google versus an OTA? And can you explain sort of some of the cost differences or cost benefits of Metasearch versus working with an OTA?
Yeah, definitely. The OTAs in that sense is pretty simple. You make arrangements in front, they generate your reservations, you pay your commission, you know how much % of revenue generated it is. So you know, you don't know the exact amount yet because you don't know how much revenue is generated, but you know what the share will be. It's a fair model in that sense. No cure, no pay. Metasearch is you invest in clicks, and if managed right, you generate reservations. The advantage here is that since you're more flexible, you can get reservations at a far lower cost of sale than you have compared to OTAs. OTAs is a fixed percentage, and if managed right, campaigns for Metasearch can be very productive at a very low cost of sale that is lower than the cost of an OTA. And in the end, business-wise, it's never a good idea to put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
The healthiest thing that you can have is a healthy mix of suppliers that deliver you your revenue. So we're not saying cut out OTAs completely, because that wouldn't make sense, because if you put everything on your website, even though it sounds romantic, it's a business risk. So
right.
We still need to work with
OTAs are really well established in terms of brand loyalty.
Oh, definitely.
Customers just go to those platforms to search.
Most definitely. Plus, OTAs play a vital role in a hotel being found online, because an OTA doesn't have all traffic coming via organic results. They also have a high loyal customer base that are going to a destination, go and search for the hotel name, and then Metasearch becomes interesting, and because they go off the OTA, go to Google, do a search on the hotel's name that they found on the OTA, and that's where the hotel has the biggest opportunity to be visible, which Metasearch gives the biggest value to. Therefore, the Google Hotel is so powerful because you're directly in the search engine results page.
Got it. Okay, great. Couple other questions. So you work for WIP Hotels, and you've got a platform that's called Meta.io. And Meta.io is now something that you can leverage through a digital marketing agency like ours. But how does Meta.io work with Google Hotels? What's that look like?
Well, it's a complete platform where when signed up, you, of course, need to be integrated, because Google needs to have rates and availability before you're even able to be listed. There needs to be bid management in place before you are visible. Google, in the end, has cost per click for a model that they earn their money from. And our platform offers one-stop solution for a hotel to do the bidding. We do the setup for you, so integration is correct and done according to Google standards. We take care of a billing issue. You get an invoice from us from every channel that you participate in, just one invoice that you pay, and we take care of the meta searches itself. So it's really a one-stop platform.
Let me interrupt real quickly, Bess. How many current reservation systems do you integrate with?
Over 40.
Okay.
The list is growing every day, and every day there are new partners added. With most of the major booking engines and channel managers, we have a connection. And
so I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to provide a downloadable list of all the platforms that you currently integrate.
Definitely.
Somewhere around this video, like right below, something like that. So I promise everybody there's a link down below to download those integration partners.
That works best.
Okay. Anything else people should know about the integration or the way the Meta.io platform integrates with their reservation system?
Well, if you have the API connection, you're already halfway there. The other thing important to know is that the booking engine should be able to have variables in the deep link. It's a little bit technical, I know, but if a user clicks or goes into a meta search, enters arrival departure date, when the user clicks to your booking engine, those variables, arrival departure date, language, currency, etc., need to be carried over to the booking engine so the results match. You see exactly the same information on the booking engine as you see in hotel ads.
I'll just say we went through an integration with SHR, and your team provided all of the details. They plugged it into the system very quickly. There was some code snips that needed to go on the website, and we were able to get
exactly
very quickly. And
exactly
we just get up and running, and the two systems communicate. I'm not an IP person or a geek, but I understand how it works, and you guys made the process really simple.
That's exactly how it goes, correct. It's very simple integration. If the two API and the booking engine work, then.
Now, in terms of generating clicks, there are 4 different bidding models that people can choose when pushing their inventory out through Meta.io. And can you just sort of give us sort of the brief bullet points of the 4 different bidding models and what they look like, what they consist of?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're looking for the bidding models for Google Hotel Ads, correct?
Correct.
Definitely. Now, Google has 4 main options. It starts with a simple cost per click. It's basic. You say, this is what I offer per click.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, CPC. This is the CPC I offer. That's in the auction. You're placed alongside the order of the bid, and you have the 1 cent plus option model that you always pay 1 cent more than the listing below. So the CPC you enter is a max CPC, the same as with Google Ads.
Is it auction based? In other words?
Yes, correct. It's auction based.
Okay.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah, definitely. The CPC, however, can be calculated 2 different ways. The platform, one is just entering a fixed amount. That's it. The most simple way there is. The other one is a little bit more sophisticated, and that is that the system calculates an average based on your room price. So if you get searches for 2 nights, and you say 1% of room price, the total price of the room for 2 nights is $100. In this case, if it's 1%, it will be $1 that will be added in the auction as your click bid. The advantage here is that it follows seasonality. So if you're in high season, you bid a little bit more. High season usually means that there's more competition. There's more volume in search, means more people want a piece of the cake. So bid tends to go up a little bit. But in low season, rooms go down in order to have a good return on ad spend, have as less cost as possible per conversion. And if the value of your conversion goes down, you need to manage that the average CPC follows this trend. And you can achieve it by having the CPC calculated based on your room price. The other 2 options are more based on a conversion-based model. There you have the commission model, which is basically the OTA model, but then on hotel ads. It's for hotels that just want to participate but don't want to have too many hassle. You pay 10, 12, 15% or more if you prefer on business generated and checked out. Same as you do with an OTA. You pay after the guest has checked out, so virtually risk-free. However, the downside is that Google's auction is always based on a cost per click. And with the first 2 models, it's very simple because you put in a CPC, or if you base the room price or do it directly, your CPC is known, and that's what Google puts in the auction. If you do a commission, Google takes cancellations into account, takes conversion into account, so can calculate back how many clicks there would be, and with the revenue generated, which they know, they can calculate it back to a cost per click and enter that in the auction. The challenge here is control, because you only can raise your commission or lower commission. That's the only influence you have on your cost per click.
Right. Okay.
So this is really for a hotel that wants to just let it, that wants to have what I call maybe a quick fix. Just go online. This is the commission model.
Set it, forget it model. Got it.
And that's it. Every month they cancel the no-shows and an invoice afterwards. However, for these hotels, this is a great model. But if you're looking towards a more sophisticated bidding structure, I would advise you to go to CPC based on room price or direct. But there's one in the middle that's a little bit both. That's what we call the cost per acquisition or cost per conversion model. You're more flexible here because you pay the moment, or the cost is calculated the moment the reservation is confirmed and invoiced the month after, where the commission is only charged when the guest has checked out. So you have a little bit less risk at Google, which the commission model is you put all the risk at Google or any other partner. In this case, the risk is more for cancellations and no-shows are more with the hotel. That's why the percentage of revenue generated can be lower than 10%.
So it helps for the hotel to know their general cancellation trends and their own.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah.
For sure. But this is something a hotel, in my idea, should know. Because when we're talking about a healthy business mix, if he has a lot of revenue, a partner brings a lot of revenue, also a lot of cancellations, is that partner that qualified? But it's a total different discussion where I won't go right now. But in this case, since the risk is more or less with Google, you pay but you still pay per revenue generated, so not per click. It's already a little bit more granular, but still doesn't allow you to bid manage because Google says, you don't want that risk of paying excessive clicks. We just open it and go, but you cannot manage because you only pay for conversion. You don't have any risk. And Google wants to optimize revenue generated, so they open all devices, all markets, all length of stay, you name it. Where if you go on CPC, you're really able to bid more granular, so you're really able to optimize campaigns, but this will take time and knowledge. Always finding a little bit of a balance for a hotel, what works best. Now, the commission model for Google will be available in the future, but only via third parties, such as right now communication with Meta.io. It will never be available if you do your bid management directly in Google Ads for a hotel ads campaign.
Important. Okay.
So this is an important point to keep in mind that if you use, because it needs a platform for cancellations and no-shows, and Google doesn't offer it. That's one of the main reasons Google is not an OTA, because they don't do the customer service. They're just there to offer a marketplace where a user can find information they're looking for, in this case hotels, where partners can contribute in the auction. That's the thing that Google does. That's their earning model. So commission is only available via parties and never via hotel ads. Doing a CPC campaign can be done in Google Ads as well if you're only looking for Google. So you don't need to go via a third party. However, if you're going for campaigns on Google, on TripAdvisor, sites kind of being, you name them, then a third-party platform is more useful because you can manage your campaigns easier. So there's a pro and con for every situation.
Got it. And I sort of, having worked with Meta.io platform and also work with Google AdWords, I sort of sum it up like this, and that is a property can manage their own Google AdWords, but a lot of times they use the set it and forget it sort of model, which doesn't provide for a lot of the nuance that you can pull out of the AdWords platform to generate more revenue, lower your click per cost, increase your quality, all of those things that help you make more and spend less. And I think the Meta.io is very similar. You could use just the commission model, right? The set it and forget it sort of model. But
exactly.
If you really want to get in there and tinker, it's probably worth it to work with an expert that knows the platform, that can guide you through either that CPC model or the costs per acquisition, the CPA model. So I know there's a lot of nuance and tactic and strategy in there, and what we've created is also, I call it a downloadable cheat sheet. So again, somewhere in the links here, there's going to be a download that everybody can get that is sort of that bidding strategy guide, that cheat sheet, so they can sort of wrap their mind around what might work best for their individual situation. All right, so I guess we're at a half an hour here. I was hoping for 20 minutes, but Bess, you're
Sorry, I was too long.
It's like the fountain of information. I could listen to you for hours here. Help our partners with their booking direct. And that's really one of the things that I like to associate Meta.io and the Metasearch is it's a direct booking platform as opposed to OTA. How do people get started as far as integrating, Meta.io into their system? And for us, we're an authorized agency, so we can actually be the contact point for getting this started for your hotel. I mean, that's really the bottom line with this.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that people should take into consideration when thinking about getting started with something like this?
There was one item that, or two things that you can think of. One is don't be scared, just try it. Trial and error. The other thing is, if you want to spend $50, forget it, won't work. A little bit of budget is needed before you can start, because it's a numbers game. So yeah, and otherwise, don't be afraid to fail. Just go with it. We've seen the results with the partners that we currently have online, and I'm absolutely sure that every individual hotel in the US and in the world can have the same results. So don't be afraid to hop on the train. And we're here to help, right?
I agree. Marketing success is built on the back of massive failure. So
exactly.
Working with someone that's experienced, you don't have to, do that trial and error and go through as many failures to get to your maximum revenue while pocketing as much money as possible in your bottom line. And so that's what this is all about. I'm going to close the call here. I just really super want to thank you for taking your time. I know it's the evening time there, the end of your day, and just sharing with us all of this information, because it really untangles some of the complications that people are confused with when looking at this additional avenue to get more direct bookings. Bess, any closing thoughts from our conversation that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, it was my pleasure to be here, and I know there's a lot more to cover than we had the time for in these 32 minutes. So yeah, if there are any questions that anybody would like to see answered, don't hesitate to share them with you and or me via you, and we'll be more than happy to provide an answer. Okay, and I look forward to work with more partners on Metasearch.
Good idea. And so wherever you're finding this video, it's probably going to be something like LinkedIn. Go ahead and just leave a question in the direct message or direct message us, and we'll make sure that you get an answer. Thank you again for being on the call. And I look forward
Thank you for having me.
Look forward to the next call, because like you said, we did just scratch the surface. So I think we'll probably do another one of these as a follow-up. But thank you, everybody.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.